So today we're going to be modding up this DIY offset guitar kit. Stay tuned. Hello there, welcome to the Guitar Manifesto channel. Hope you're all well. If you're fans of the channel, you'd know that recently I built this DIY guitar kit. It was classed as a jag stang because of the elongated booty. I did put that in the title of the original video, but then a lot of people started moaning that it ain't like the same setup as a jag stang. So for the sake of peace and goodwill to all men, we're just going to refer to it now as an offset kick guitar. Hope that's good. Could say Jaguar, but then again, not switching. Yeah. But anyway, the last video, I put it all together. I'll put a link in the description and a link above in the corner somewhere. Yeah, we put it all together straight out the kit just to give you an idea what it sounded like. I paid £150 for this guitar kit. Literally just had to wire in the P90 pickup. Everything else was sort of pre-wired, so I just basically had to put that in, ground the bridge, obviously put the neck on, put the tuners on, put the strings on it that come with it. Again, £150, it was already pre-painted in this Daphne blue, so yeah, for a cheap kick guitar with a 24-inch scale offset, pre-painted, I thought this was very cheap. But yeah, upon building it, quality-wise, the paint job is phenomenal. There ain't a fault on it. I love the body, it's got a nice weight to it. I love the neck, it's got a nice finish. It's like that matte sort of finish to it. It feels right, the frets feel good, and to be honest, it is really well built, and I wouldn't known any different if it was like a Squire sort of affinity. But there's a few things I did sort of pick faults with. The frets are a little bit sharp, they need a bit of sanding down. They could probably do with just sort of polishing up a bit, but apart from that, the frets are fine. The nut, it's cut too high, so the first couple of frets, it's, you know, a bit sharp on the tuning. So I was going to put a new nut in it, but what I thought I'd do first of all is take the nut out and try filing the base of it down just to lower it in, and then see how we go from there. So if I do need a better nut, I'll probably get a tusk nut and change that, but for now we're just going to file that nut down. Tuners that come with it are pretty decent. They look like the vintage style, but they've got the modern sort of holes in the poles there, but they're pretty decent, so I'll keep hold of them. The neck, I've got some Tru Oil. I keep seeing a lot of videos about people using this on necks to sort of finish it off, so I think I'm going to give that a go with this guitar. It's well sanded down. Probably just give it a little bit of a light sanding just to smooth it out a little bit more. So I'm going to go over the neck, the sort of headstock, give it a few coats, and apparently it gives it a nice satin sort of sheeny finish, and it also tints it to like a bit of a vintage tint to get rid of that sort of anemic maple. But yeah, we're going to give that a go because I'm really intrigued about that. Under the pick guard, it's routed out, but there's no cavity shielding, so I've got some cavity paint. I'm going to paint the cavities just to stop any interference. Onto the electronics, I like the P90 pickup on the neck position. I really did not like this Humbucker bridge pickup, so I bought an Alnico 5 Humbucker, brand new. But my only problem is, upon opening it, I wasn't very careful. I did a ball and I cut the wire, so I'm going to have to solder that back on, but that was my fault. I actually thought the package was something else, and I didn't really, you know, go as careful as I should have done, and they just had the wire loose, so yeah, I'm going to have to solder that back together, but that's not a problem. But yeah, that should give it a bit more beef in the bridge pickup. This is supposed to be 14k ohms, so it's supposed to be a really hot pickup, so hopefully that'll sound good. This humbucker that's in here is just awful. It sounds like a single coil. Yeah, just get rid of that. The electrics, I'm going to upgrade the pots to these full-size 500k pots. I think I paid about £3.50 for them, but yeah, they're full-size 500k. That humbucker, that was £15 brand new. I'll put a link to all this stuff in the description below, just so you know where I got it all from. But yeah, this was all eBay. I bought an orange cap. This is the 0.047 UF orange caps. These are always good, solid, you know, give you a nice balance on your tone control and what have you. So yeah, I'm going to stick one of them in, see what different that makes. I've bought a Switchcraft output jack. I always recommend changing these on your guitars, even your, you know, your Mexican Fenders. Always stick these in. They do make a big difference in terms of, you know, not getting crackly noises and what have you. I bought some string trees, the original ones with the stem, crappy cheap ones. So what we've done, I've bought some roller string trees. I'm going to give them a go. I didn't actually put the original ones on because I thought I'm going to get some of these and stick them on. The strings that come with it, I think they're 9 gauge, which are not really good for a 24-inch scale. So I've got some Fender 10 gauge strings to go on. These are 10 to 46. These are, you know, the sort of ones I use regularly. A lot of people on 24-inch scales like 11s or 12s. Me personally, I use 10s. So don't nag me in the comments below about that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. These are the sort of mods that, you know, I think you need to do on a guitar like this if you want to keep it. Again, it's a good guitar to start off with. But anyway, yeah, let's move forward and let's start modding this offset guitar. Right, so we're going to start working on the offset guitar now. But before I do start, I did a recording to a backing track earlier on as this stands now. And I'm going to split it up into 2 parts. So I'll play it as it is, and then I'll play it again with all the mods, so you get a sound of what it's like before and after. So for now we're going to crack on. I'm going to take these strings off. We don't need these anymore. Okay, strings off. Next job, I'm going to take the neck off because I'm going to be painting that, so we don't want that on. Right, next job, I'm going to take the pickguard off. Right, so I've got the pickguard off. Next job is I need to move this P90 pickup out the way because I'm going to shield the inside of this. So I'm just going to snip this ground wire off. The cavity paint takes a few days to dry fully, so I'm going to paint that first, obviously get the longer jobs out of the way. And when I'm going to stain this neck, this is also going to take a few days to dry because I need to put quite a few coats on it. In between each coat, I need to sand it. So yeah, I need to let it dry for a little while, sand it, put another coat on, let it dry, sand it. So yeah, I'm just going to get the longer jobs out of the way. So if you watch my videos in the past, this is sort of like a graphite paint. It basically just stops any interference, you know, with your electronics. Just helps your guitar stay a little bit quieter. Readily available on sort of eBay and Amazon and places like that, but it's definitely worth doing if it hasn't been shielded inside. Okay, so that's the first coat of the shielding. I need to let that dry for about 24 hours now, and I'll come back tomorrow with another coat. I've got a couple of little bits on the paintwork, but they just wipe off with like a baby wipe or something. Don't worry about it. If you get it on the paint, it comes off pretty easy. So, onto the neck. Alright, time to get oily. Whoosh.
Oh, matron, take them away. Oh.
So, about to put the Tru Oil on. Again, I've seen a lot of people use this in the past. I've never used it myself, so I'm going to give it a go. It's for gun stock finish, but yeah, it's supposed to work really well on guitars. Shake. So what I'm going to do is apply it with a rag. I've seen people actually apply it with their fingers, but what I really want to do is I don't want to go too mad with it. I only want to like a sheen to the finish. I see a lot of people put loads of this stuff on, and yeah, it goes really shiny, like a really thick finish. But I don't want that. I want to sort of apply a few little blobs, and sort of rub it in, and then sort of rub it out, if that makes sense.
If you were a gentleman, you'd close your eyes.
But building the layers up. See how we go. Put a apparently I hear a little goes a long way. So sort of, as we're going along, it's drying itself out. So it should be a bit quicker to dry as well in between coats. It definitely goes a bit sticky. As you can see, it goes a bit shiny. I'm not going to go too thick around the heel either of the neck, because I may have a bit of problem putting the neck back onto the body if I put too thick of a coat on. But yeah, it's definitely changing colour, getting a bit darker. The grain's coming out a little bit more. So it probably won't show up very well on camera. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry for a bit and then go on to the next coat. Right, so I'm in between coats of Tru Oil on the neck. This is the following morning. I put a second coat of shielding paint on the guitar body. That's pretty much done. The neck, I've probably given it about 5 coats during the course of yesterday. I've let it dry overnight. I've given it a sanding down this morning. I'll actually show you. And I've just put another coat on. I'm putting really thin coats on. I'm not too worried about the colour change as much. It has gone a little bit darker, but you can just see it's starting to get a bit of a nice smooth satin sheen, but I don't want it too you know, glossy, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to give it a few more coats today, but it's definitely darkening the maple up, bringing the wood grain out a bit more, so that should be a nice improvement. But yeah, okay, so while I'm sort of waiting for that to do its thing, I'm going to mess around with the wiring now. So I've got 2 new pots. I've got the output jack and I've got the orange cap. So I was just going to take it all apart and stick it all on, but I may do it because this wiring's so thin and fiddly. I was going to rewire it, but I think I'm just going to stick with the original wire. I'm just going to do it bit by bit. So I'm just going to scuff the back of these pots. Wherever you solder on top of a pot, it's always good to scratch the surface just so you've got something for the solder to bite to. Also, what I'll do first is I'll go around and I'll tin all the connectors just to make it easier for myself. What I mean by tinning is you put the soldering iron on, put a bit of heat on, and just get a bit of solder around the lug. So when you does come to putting the wire in, you've got a little bit of solder there. It just makes it easier to solder on. With your soldering iron, I always recommend to get something decent. This is one with a little stand or whatever, and it's got a temperature gauge so you can set the temperature. I generally go around 400 degrees. Ideally you normally go around 350, but what I find is you tend to have to hold on to the joint a little longer than you'd like, and you can cause some damage. I'd rather it be hot so I haven't got to hold on as long, and the solder will melt quicker. So yeah, I go around 400. It's actually on 401, but that'll do. Yeah, so I'm just going to go around, solder all these little bits, all these lugs. I'll also put a blob of solder where I'm going to put the grounding points just to make it easier for the solder to run. So I'm just going to go for all that now. Right, so I'm going to start with the output jack. I've got the hot on, just going to put that in, put the ground in, then I'll work back for the middle pot. Literally just going to swap everything over, so yeah, pretty simple setup. Let's crack on. Okay, so that's the pots all wired up. I'm just putting these back on now to the pick guard, and then the next job is to swap this humbucker over, and the wiring for that is all wired up to this three-way switch. So we'll get that done now. I managed to repair the cable. I basically soldered all the joints together individually, wrapped them with electrical tape, and then just put some electrical tape around the whole wire, so we should be good. Right, the wiring on this humbucker, you got a green, which is the hot, the red and the white you can use to split the polarity in the humbucker, but for this job we're not doing it, so I need to join them two together. And then you got black and a braided wire, which is the ground, so pretty simple little setup. So I'm just going to join these together. All you need to do is strip the wires a little bit more, join them together, ideally put a little bit of solder on them just to stop them, you know, coming apart and whatever, and put a bit of electrical tape or heat wrap stuff around it. But yeah, I'm just going to put them on. And then so we've got the green as the hot, the black and the braided wire, which is the ground. These will connect to this three-way switch. These two will be out of the way. On this three-way switch, zoom in, on this three-way switch, the ground is this little lug at the bottom there, and this one is the hot. So I'll swap them over now. So as always, nothing simple. This humbucker is a little bit bigger than the other one, so I need to trim away a little bit of the routing of the humbucker. And she fits. Panic over. Alright, a bit of trouble I'm having with this switch, the actual lug. The hole that goes through, what you normally feed the wire through, is completely bunged up. I can't get the solder out, and I ain't got a solder remover. Go a bit unconventional, I'm going to wrap it around. Not ideal, but you know, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Okay, that's on. And pretty much the same with the ground as well. I'm gonna have to like dab it on, but again, it'll be fine. I'm not a master craftsman. Good enough. Next job, put that back into the guitar body. So, moment of truth. Alright, that's good enough, so I'll put screw the pick guard back on. Alright, so onto the neck. The colour has darkened a bit. Not as much as I thought it would, but it still looks pretty fine. I've probably done about 8 coats of this over the last 24 hours, but it's got a nice sheen to it. It still feels smooth, not like a thick gloss lacquer, so I definitely recommend it. But if I was to use this stuff again, I probably would go with a vintage tint underneath just to darken it up before I start putting the Tru Oil on. But some videos I've seen where they've put the Tru Oil on, it definitely darkened up a bit more, but yeah, looks pretty sweet. So I'm going to put the tuners back on, and then we'll put the neck back on as the guitar. So neck's back on, got the strings on, got the tuners on, she's sort of in tune. Give it a little bit of a setup, nothing major. One more little job is to put the string trees on. Remember I said I've got these roller ones, fresh from China, so yeah, they may contain a bit of coronavirus, but we should be good. Right, so these little string trees have a lug that sticks out. You can see that? I presume that's possibly where you put it in the old hole and drill a new one next to it. So I'm going to have to drill a little pilot hole just to put that in, and then we'll put a hole next to it. So I'm going to go, I reckon that way. I'm going to go that way with these. And then probably one about there. So you can see that. I reckon one about there. One about there. I reckon that should do us. Sound like a plan? Let's get drilling. I ain't gonna lie, this is a fiddly ass motherfucking job. Alright, they are on. Right, so she's all back together now. All the mods done. So the video's gone on long enough, so I'm going to play to a backing track. I already recorded before. I did all the mods, and I'm going to play it again with all the mods on after. So for the 3 different positions, so the neck, both pickups and the bridge. So let's plug her in, see what she sounds like. there you go. That was the modded version of the offset guitar DIY kit. Again, I paid £150 for this off eBay as a stock kit. Come in this Daphne blue. Mods, 15 quid for the humbucker. About £3.50 each for the pots. Another £3 or so for the output jack. About £4 for the orange drop cap. The Tru Oil, I believe, was about £8. I'll put all links to the stuff below. My memory's not the best. Strings, I think I bought a pack of 3 for £12. So what, 4 quid for a pack of strings. Shielding paint I already had, but you can get that pretty easy on eBay and whatever. So yeah, that's the sort of mods I'll do to it. The neck I was pretty pleased with actually. I'll give you another close up of that. So it's slightly tinted it. Again, if I was to do it again, I would put a vintage tint underneath. I thought it was going to darken it up a bit more, but I'm happy with it anyway. It's not too shiny, you know, not like a deep gloss finish. It's just got a nice sheen to it, and it's definitely feels a lot better now. One thing I didn't show in the video is I sanded the edge of the frets down with a sanding block. Just polished the frets up a little bit with a bit of wire wool, just make it a bit smoother. But the neck's definitely feeling a lot better. I don't know how it comes across on the video in the room. The P90 definitely sounds a lot better to me, much more crisp sound to it. This Alnico humbucker, definitely more defined. I always find the Alnico 5s are not really a big sound, but yeah, they've got a nice defined chime to them, so it's definitely a lot better sounding than the original humbucker. But again, I haven't really listened to the video yet, so let me know what you think to it. And yeah, I've gone on long enough with this video, so hope you enjoyed the build, hope you enjoyed the modding part of this build as well. I've got plenty more to come this year, so if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below, let me know what you think sounded the best out of it all. And yeah, that'll do for today. So thanks for watching, it's been a long one, see you all soon, peace.